Yay!
Okay, we did it.
We're live.
We're live. Okay, I'm gonna start my first LaCroix. Say pamplemousse.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on, there it is. Oh, you got the same flavor? Hold on, let me get a different one then. Passion fruit.
Oh, no. I got you, buddy. I got you right here.
Okay, which one's open?
I got the pamplemousse open.
Okay, hold on.
I was at a wedding like a month ago, and they had like flats of LaCroix back behind the bar, and I just walked up and I was like, I need a pamplemousse, and the lady was like, you said that perfectly. And she gave me two. It was amazing.
Hey, we got Nick V Media chiming in. What up, Nick?
Yo.
Can I type? Hello.
I don't know. Can you type?
Yep, I can type. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, this is our first LaCroix happy hour live stream, and it's all because I texted you yesterday. I was like, "Hey, do you want to go live on Instagram or something?" And you're like, "Sure," and then you made everything all fancy like this.
Yeah, I was really excited. I was just telling Spencer like 5 minutes ago that I've been waiting to do this for like a month. I keep trying to convince Louisa to do some kind of live thing with me. And then Spencer texted me, so I'm totally stoked about this.
At one point, you told me you were like, "You can just tell me to stop, or I can run with it."
Right,
And
right.
I kind of knew what that meant.
Yeah. I could keep going. I could make a new Instagram page, a new YouTube channel. Yeah. Anyways, some people did have some questions for you because I asked on I wasn't sure how many people are actually gonna uh, check in live. We got some people on here. We got Luke. What up, Luke? What up, Ashley? Aaron, Chaz, dude, Wolf represent. Wolf and Moscow Moto.
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's start with our first question. If you guys have any questions for me or Spencer, holler them out.
Aaron wants to know, Jesus Christ, what camera and lighting are you using? It's
Okay.
because if you look at our cameras next to each other, like yours looks like a fucking studio and mine looks like a hobo camera.
Well, I work remotely, so I am constantly doing this kind of stuff with coworkers. So just over the years, I've been doing it for probably 10 years now. So just over the years, I've accumulated lots of gear and stuff like that, and so it kind of is a studio in a way.
So what you're
Uh,
saying is I need to step up my game.
I'm saying, what you're doing is fine, I think, but if you wanted to, yes, I could make some recommendations.
It's
But
like this is a MacBook Pro and it looks like shit compared to that.
I think a microphone would be a good first step.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
you can just send me the link and I'll take care of it.
Robbie, our mutual friend, and as far as I
Robster.
know, the one that plans every single motorcycle trip that you go on,
If you're
has
not there.
yeah has a question. Robbie was curious for you. What's the most important thing that you've forgotten on a trip, and how did that go?
Oh, I know what it was. The first year that I went to Overland Expo, I forgot a sleeping pad. And I was riding all the way down there from Washington, and I think I did like a 500-mile day to somewhere in Oregon, and it was piss and rain, so I stayed in a hotel. So I didn't realize that night. But the next night, I did like 500 miles down to like Lee Vining in California or something like that. And uh, yeah, it was terrible setting up camp. Realized I don't have the sleeping pad. Tried to like lay out my jacket and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be okay. This is gonna be okay. And I slept like maybe a cumulative like 2 hours that night or whatever. And then I went to REI the next day and bought a sleeping pad. But that was pretty shitty. How about you?
Uh, I I'm pretty I'm pretty OCD when I right before I go on a trip. I always wait till the last minute to pack, but I do have like not like a checklist. It's not like a flight list or something, but I do have like a process. My left side always has certain things in it. My right side always has specific things in it. And then if I'm camping, then the top bag behind me is always the camping gear. And when I get home from a trip, I always put stuff away in the same spot. And then when I leave, I just grab it from the same spot and I put it in the same part of the bags. So I actually really haven't forgotten anything. The only thing that I can think of that I've forgotten in the past was, and this is because I lost it on the previous trip and hadn't replaced it. That's a tube, extra tubes.
Mm.
I run out of those all the time. So, but
What about
there was no downside really.
what about thermals though?
Oh yeah. See, I didn't forget those.
Oh, that was just a strategic.
I just didn't plan to bring any. Yeah, so Spencer and I went on. This was like we were going through. Was this Colorado? It was Colorado, right?
No, it was Idaho, Stanley, Idaho.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, this is Stanley, Idaho. Yeah, we were doing the Idaho BDR, or parts of it anyway.
Right,
Uh,
right.
and yeah, I just hadn't packed for whatever reason. It was super warm when we started, and I hadn't packed any cold gear at all. And it was well below freezing when we got there. And I ended up having to buy thermals at the most expensive little outdoor store that I've ever been to. And I still have those same thermals. So I think I spent almost $200 on that set of like
You
ice
got to
break.
get use out of them at that point, man.
Yeah. So those are still the ones that I bring, even when I'm in the truck. When we're camping in the truck, I wear the same thermals.
Yeah. That was hilarious. We woke up and the sprinkler next to the hotel like had frozen in mid-flight, and like all the sprinklers were like frozen, and we were like, you were like everything that you had with you. You were like, oh god, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I was like, dude, you need to get some thermals. This is not gonna be okay.
Yeah, it was so bad. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah,
Johnny
horrible.
Burke wants to know how do we get Upshift and some other media interested in coming up to Montana for some epic rides? Have you ridden in Montana?
I've ridden in Montana one time. It was for the shoot, what's the name of that ride?
The Continental Divide?
No, I only went to the first one. It's like a rally.
Rocky Mountain Roll?
Yes, that. Yeah, Rocky
Yeah,
Mountain Roll. I went to the first Rocky Mountain Roll. And it was in Montana, and that's the only time I've ever ridden there.
yeah. Well, because I was going to say I did the Continental Divide, and we went through there, and Montana is absolutely epic.
Yeah.
Like really cool stuff into. I think it was the section south of Helena. Was Lyndon Poskett had ridden through like the month before, and he was doing his racist to places shit, and he called it call it something Romaniacs. Like he compared it to Romaniacs because there was like just this really hard route on the Continental Divide tracks. There was like easy, regular, and hard, and we ended up on the hard track, and it was seriously like just like rock gardens and shit. Like we had to turn around like a couple miles in. It was pretty shitty. But anyway, it's a very, very beautiful, cool place. So the answer to that question is how do we get more people, media interested in coming up there? I don't really know. I mean, the BDR people are going to do a Montana BDR soon, so I'm sure that'll get people interested. But I would like to keep it secret, enjoy it while it's secret for now.
The route that you did, that's a published route, right? The Continental Divide route.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not the BDR folks. That's somebody else.
No, those tracks were from GPS Kevin, and I think you've done some of his stuff before.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he does like organized rides, but then all his tracks that he uses for those, he's shares them, right?
right,
So
right, and I
he's
think
got like a ton of Baja tracks as well, and
I think he
California.
charges for some of them, but it's like super reasonable. Like I don't even know what it was for the Continental Divide, but I mean, to be able to just buy like super hammered out tracks for that kind of stuff, well worth it. And I think a lot of his routes are a lot more like rustic than the BDR ones. I guess that's what you would call it, rustic.
You mean, like pretty or challenging? Because he does
Challenge.
small. Oh yeah, because he does like small dual sport rides too.
Right, right. That's my gentle way of saying like this might be a little bit challenging. Could be difficult. Um, longest multi-day moto trip, days, miles. You've done very long. What was that one that you were wandering about for like a month?
Yeah, it was about 6 weeks, and it was I'm not sure how many miles actually. I'd have to look. I could probably look right now. Let me look on my computer. But it's probably around like 6,000 or so. And it was just like a loop. I was living in Seattle at the time. No, uh, where
I think you were
Louisa?
in Oregon.
Yeah, were we in Oregon when I did that trip, Louisa? Hello?
Oh, she logged out.
Yeah, she can't hear. I'm talking to Louisa in the house here, but I guess she can't hear me. She might have her noise canceling headphones on. When I did that GitHub trip, do you remember when that was?
Which one?
The first one. Were we in Oregon?
Yeah, we only worked for GitHub when we lived in
Okay, yeah. So that was in Oregon, and Portland, Oregon, and then I basically did all the BDRs that were published at the time. So did the Idaho one, the Colorado BDR, the Utah BDR, and then I got tracks through California, I think from GPS Kevin as well. And I don't remember if there was a Nevada BDR at the time. Oh, there was an Arizona BDR. And then
Mm-hmm.
the reason I was doing that trip was then I had a meeting for my work in San Diego, so I was doing that like loop down like inside the United States and back down to the coast again. And then after that, I went back up where I went down into Baja and then back up the coast, back to Portland. That's the only time I've done a trip like that before. Um, and yeah, the longest trip besides that one is probably like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
We kind of do, that's kind of like our normal September trip now is
yeah,
like, I don't know, like 9 days.
yeah, and I like those so much more actually. Like I think long trips are kind of romanticized, but they get like boring real fast. So
Yeah.
for me anyway, like I really like exploring and just like I like trying to find tracks and camping in the middle of nowhere and exploring like a small area for several days and then leaving again and then spending a night in a hotel and then recharging and doing
Yeah.
it again like 6 weeks straight of just camping and stuff. I actually don't like that much. It got really boring really quickly and I just wanted like to take a shower and eat good food and stuff like that. So I love
Yeah.
being able to do just a bunch of shorter ones. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah. The longest one I did was Continental Divide. And that was 17 days, I think. Only like 4,000 miles, but I was doing it with two guys that had never ridden motorcycles before. So it took forever. We had days where we only did like 50 miles or something like that. Um, but yeah, that was from Mexico to Canada and rode all the way across or up the United States off road. So that was my longest moto trip. And same thing, like it it was very cool. It was the coolest trip I've ever been on. But it's funny to think of now because if you, me, and Robbie rode that like now, I
Hmm.
think we could probably do it in 5 days,
Hmm.
like in an aggressive riding. So like it's sort of frustrating to look back on, but those are like I think the longest trips I ever really want to do. I would do like another 2 week trip or something if I wanted to do the tat or something like that, but I don't really have aspirations to go live off of my bike ever.
The Tat is the one that goes east-west across the United States.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that it's really boring on the whole East Coast part though, because like I don't know, it goes then over here on the West Coast, it goes into Colorado and then over into Oregon and stuff like that, and like we've probably ridden a lot of that stuff in Oregon, so
It's a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
gravel. It's similar to like the Idaho BDR. You've done that one,
Right.
where like more than half of it is just gravel, like really dusty gravel. Not a lot of
That's the
technical
way.
stuff.
That's the way the Continental Divide was, like the whole southern part of the Continental Divide. Really, I guess we were taking a lot of the easy routes, but it was like dirt highways basically, so you'd look down and you're just going like 70 miles an hour just cruising along in like a straight line, so that stuff kind of gets boring after a while, but it was a lot more like a road trip because you would go through like a lot of little cities like every day kind of. I'm into number two. I'm into passion fruit now.
I'm still working on the original passion
Well,
fruit.
I got going a little bit early, before we
But
went live.
I would like to share a preview of the next flavor. It is a 365 flavor, which I showed you earlier. If I can I? There we go. Black cherry. So it's off brand, but I really like these ones.
You don't really like them, or you do?
No, I do. They're good. There's like
Oh,
this
okay.
one, and now Pepsi has like one too, and Coca-Cola has one too. They have their own house. There's like Bubbles, I think, is one of them, or something
I'm
like
a
that.
bubbly man
Yeah.
myself. I'll venture off in there. My wife, she drinks Spindrift, but those ones have the calories. I don't know about all that action.
Dude, there's this one with CBD in it, made in Portland, Oregon. It's like $8 a can.
Whoa.
It's what's the name of it? Ah, shoot. It's got like as you would imagine a can would look like from a company like this. It's like this beautiful like pastel white, like just like this off-white color with like the most subtle branding ever. But it's
Hmm.
got they used to make like mixers for like alcoholic drinks, so like like fruit extracts and stuff. So if you look on the back, it doesn't say like what this says, which is naturally essenced. It just tells you exactly what's in the can, like
Hmm.
blueberries or lime, ginger. It's actually super good, but very expensive.
$8 a can. That's freaking crazy.
I'm pretty sure that's because of the CBD, but unfortunately, I don't notice a difference with CBD, so or THC. So I don't. Yeah, just.
Jeff
Um,
Jeff Noyes says, "Is Robbie Johnson the unspoken hero of Instagram ADV?" And the short answer is absolutely
I
yes.
think so. He plans like so many trips,
Yeah,
and he's got tracks for everything. Like
I
if you're
don't
friends
even
with Robbie, you can literally have tracks to go anywhere.
I don't even try with him anymore. Like I really just let him. He loves doing it. He loves. I go along for the rides, and I have a lot of fun. But I mean, we'll show up somewhere, and you've been on the trip, so be like, well, we could go this way or we could go that way, and I'm like, I don't even know where I am right now. Like just take me whichever way you want to go, man. And then sometimes he'll screw up and like he'll have made executive decisions in his planning phase, like Mosquito Pass, like how we weren't supposed to go over that in Colorado. He's like, no, that's too difficult. We don't want to do that. Blah blah blah. And then we end up there, and he's like, oh shit, we've made a mistake. And then that's when you and I were like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and that was like the best day of the trip. Like that was super memorable for me.
Oh yeah,
God,
that was
I
funny.
love that one. That was one where it was like starting to snow on us and stuff.
We
Yeah.
came around that corner. We came around that corner, and I just started laughing in my helmet, and you were behind me because the approach to it from whatever side we came to it, you like literally come around like a 90-degree dirt corner, and then it just fucking pitches
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
like straight up, and it's all just rocky. There was no like obvious line that you could pick out, and so I'm just sitting there laughing, and you're like, "What's wrong? What happened? What's going on?" Then you came around the corner, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
And that's the first time I had ridden something like that on the KTM 640, and it was so good. It can go like 5 miles an hour of anything. It can't go fast on anything, but it can go slow if anything.
It's a goddamn tractor.
Yeah, I was so impressed. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a good trip. Our Colorado trip was good, except for the way that my portion of it ended. But other than that, it was fun.
Yeah.
Robbie was saying, "Oh, laugh out loud! That was my birthday too." He was talking about when we were on the Alpine Loop, and that was like 2 days later. I think we were on the Alpine Loop, and it was like the day before I had been on it doing the T7 thing, and it was like beautiful, perfect conditions. And then the next day, we woke up on Robbie's birthday in that weird cabin, and it was like pouring rain and shit, and we were like running from the rain sort of, and then it was snowing on us, and yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Oh yeah, and that was the day that I ate shit really bad. Like it was just later that day.
In a mud puddle.
I crashed. Yeah, in a mud puddle. And yeah. Good birthday. Good times, Robbie.
Wolf Enduro in the house.
Yeah, man. It's funny.
I got another question for you here that came from Instagram a little earlier. It's from Juan Pablo de Villa, and he wants to know. And I don't know if he asked this question because he already follows you on Instagram or if it's just a coincidence. But his question was, what are the essential items that you keep in your toolkit on your motorcycle? And I think I just saw you publish a video on this like a couple days ago.
I did. I would say my absolute essential is just a good adjustable pliers, those Nipex pliers that I carry with me, and a multi-tool. If I could only carry like 2 things with me, that would probably be it. But you've seen my toolkit. It's kind of elaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say to him, if he were watching, to go check out the YouTube video that I just did. It goes over like every silly little thing that I carry in my toolkit.
Yeah, for me, it used to be tools for fixing a flat. But recently in like smaller bikes, I stopped using tubes, so I didn't have to carry those. And so I think probably a multi-tool now as well. But last trip I went on, that trip that was a while back, it was like November, right? The one that I went on you with. I left my bike in Vegas to fly home. And then when I did that, I carried my tools with me on the airplane, and they took my multi-tool. So
Really?
actually they the tire irons as well, because there's like a certain length that you're allowed to bring on to the airplane. So like it was just like he took out a ruler and measured it. It was just like like an inch or two. I think it's 12 inches or something. So
he had like a ruler with him. He was like, let's check this out.
Measured it out. They're super light though, so they weren't like, they sound like it'd be like they're too big to carry on the bike because they're almost a foot, but they're aluminum, so they're super light. Yeah, I still haven't replaced those. I gotta get like a new multi-tool.
Yeah.
What multi-tool do you use? Is it just a Leatherman?
Yeah, it's the Leatherman. I don't know what model it is. It's got, the one thing that I like about it is it's got a receptacle for bits, and it came with bits, so it's got your basic Allen and or hex head and Torx bits that you can put in there. So it saves me from having to pull out my toolkit like every single time. I just ride with that in my tank bag so that I can just not have to pull out my toolkit every time. Ever in Missouri or Kansas other than THC? I have never been to Missouri or Kansas. Rodeo Cowboy, he lives in Missouri, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'd answer that, but I don't know. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I know he lives in that area. He lives in the Midwest.
Big shout out to Big Red.
I've never been to his
Um,
place. His
no,
luxurious farm, it looks like.
yeah. um, One story that I wanted to talk about was the weirdest place that I've ever stayed in my life, and that was with you. And we were in Idaho. We had done the Lolo motorway, and I wish I could remember the name of the bar, but it was funny as hell because we had spent the whole day.
We did the Lolo motorway separately, I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
Separately, and what had happened was I had set up my gimbal, and then I took off riding, and I took the wrong turn, but you stayed on the right track. And then by the time I figured out I had gone the wrong way, I turned around and I came back to that track, but I didn't know that you had passed me. So I just waited. And then I went and took off and I waited some more. And then I realized, oh shit, he probably passed me. And so then we were playing cat and mouse like the whole day. And I ran off the road at one point, went through a forest fire burn area at one point. It was like really weird. And like we had all of our stuff spread out where I think I had all the cooking stuff. So like you didn't have cooking stuff with you.
Mm-mm.
So I thought it was just going to be a major clusterfuck. And then I would run into people and just see a guy on a motorcycle going that way. You know, and they'd be like, oh yeah, 15 minutes ago he just went by. And I'm like, oh fuck. Anyways, we rolled into that town and you were just there I went to the gas station. I was like, shit, he'll be at the gas station. For sure he'll be at the
Your video is you're frozen on a very unflattering position. Oh wait.
that is
Oh, no, maybe it's unfreezing now. I'm not sure.
see it frozen. That is not a good look.
No, now it's just blank. I can still hear you though.
That's weird. My internet looks good.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if
Oh, there's just blank.
see if I can get you back on here. We're using Skype, by the way. Internet people.
Somebody says Robo Spencer.
Yep. There's a slight delay, so everybody's gonna notice in about 1 second. Yeah, you're like, whoops. You're like, you're gone. You're just totally gone on my thing. Here, let me see if I can bring you back again. Bear with us, internet. We're saving Spencer.
So he says, bubbles and blackouts. We can still hear the gear, dude. Keep storytelling.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Now everybody gets to see me position you on the screen. So this is it. So this is. It's funny the way that this software works that I'm using right now is like it scales your. Let's put you here. Put you here. Everybody can see you now at least, but you're positioned very strangely on the screen.
I'm just hanging out in the corner there.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh, hold on. Get you back on here.
Anyways, I'll finish the story.
Yeah. Continue.
So I ended up in a town in Idaho that I was chasing like the whole day, and got to the gas station. The one gas station, there was no cell reception, of course, and you weren't there. And so I was like, oh fuck. I just didn't know what to do, you know. anyways, then I turned around in town and I went to go to like the next little town on pavement to see if I could get cell reception to call you. And you were in a gas station or in the grocery store parking lot or whatever. And anyways, it was pretty funny. Then we went to a bar because they had good food or something. I don't remember why. And I was getting cheeseburger. I remember that. But then we were like trying to figure out where we were going to stay. It was going to be really cold. And so we kind of said something to the bartender. And the bartender was like, well, we got rooms upstairs. You know, you could stay there, but you should look at them first.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the bartender said something about, oh, well, you should go look at them. And I was like, that's pretty weird that they like want us to go look at them. And they said, or you could camp in the back, like just in this bar parking lot, sort of. And that didn't seem great either. And then they were real weird, real greasy on the price too. Like, well, $20, you know, like I forget, it was something like $15 or something. And we were like, this seems really weird. And then we went up there, and I don't know why we agreed to stay there. But there was like creepy dolls, and there was like weird paintings, and somebody lived up there. This is just above the bar. And yeah, it was really weird. Thankfully, you did the bed bug investigation. We both slept in sleeping bags on the separate beds, and there was a smell. I remember that. But anyways, that was the scariest place that I've ever stayed.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we also had random people just walking around every now and then in the dark, which is absolutely terrifying. Just coming upstairs and walking around like where we're sleeping.
It was like somebody's apartment. Like the guy that owned the bar like stayed up there or something. And like there was like a common room where it's like his living room sort of, and there was just like a broken window. You remember that? That was just like wind going out and like dirty dishes and
Dirty
shit.
dishes piled up, yeah.
Yeah,
The bathroom was just falling apart. Shower curtain half on, half off.
Oh yeah, I remember there's a shower and I didn't use the shower. Like I needed a shower and I didn't use it because it looked so fucking disgusting. That was pretty bad. Good times though. And then we woke up the next morning, and to leave, you just go down into the bar, and like nobody wants to see a bar in like broad daylight, you know. And then we like left, and it was colder than a whore's heart, and there was like ice all over the bikes, and yeah, it was terrible. That was one of those like get everything out of the bag. Like I had every layer on that I could, and I think we rode for a couple hours until we found a breakfast spot, suitable breakfast spot to have coffee and flapjacks. Yeah. What's the best place you've ever camped?
It's dude, Spencer, we lost you again. Hold on.
God damn it. Is it frozen in a really bad screen?
No, it's your internet. I think I figured out what's happening now. So I'm just gonna keep resizing you. But your Skype is like constantly, every time your bandwidth drops, it sends like this smaller version of you to like save bandwidth, and then you just disappear. You just disappear in our little window.
What happens if I switch my internet? Then I'll probably drop off then, right?
Probably. I think you're fine. I just resized you. You're just like a little postage stamp now. But we could still see you. We could still see you. I think the camping that's like Luisa left a comment here. So let me tell this story real quick. So this was going to be one of the more pretty places I've stayed, and this is in Utah. It's right after the Burr Trail. You've taken that, right? Did we took that together? Yeah. And it's like it used to be mostly unpaved, but I think it's pretty much paved now. There's like one little section that's unpaved, but it ends in at Powell Lake, which is a lake that sometimes has enough water for a ferry to go across it. And so if
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and if it does have enough water, that's really convenient because then you can get off this pretty beautiful sweet road and you could camp there, and then in the morning you could take the ferry over across the lake, which is a fun ferry. It's like a super small one. You can bring your bike on there.
Called Yeah, it's called Bullfrog. I think it's called Bullfrog.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You keep resizing, so I'm gonna resize your face here real quick again. There we go. I'm just gonna put you slightly on top of me. Okay. So, anyways, there right at the end there is a Powell State Park, and it's got this beautiful plateau that looks over the lake. And they've got like designated campsites, and then they've also got just kind of like an area where you can set up camp wherever you want. And so I go to the area where you can just set up wherever you want, which is amazing. And I get there right at sunset, and I'm super stoked about this. And this is on the Tiger, and I was using this Big Agnes, kind of like it's a normal tent. It's like shaped like a dome. It's a dome tent. I get all set up. I get inside my tent. I'm getting ready to go to sleep at night, and I'm taking all these pictures because it's like super nice and sunset. And the wind is just like picking up more and more and more, and it's getting to the point where it's like annoying and stuff. Like I'm getting hit with stuff, and I'm trying. And now I don't really want to take my camera out because I'm just like getting pelted with gravel and stuff, and just like little rocks and sand. In Utah, you get those little sand like storm things that kick up, and like those little mini tornadoes and stuff. And so yeah, I decided to call it a night. I took my panniers off my bike, and I moved my bike away from the tent because I was actually kind of concerned that it was going to fall on me. So I moved it like a few feet away just so if it did tip over, it wouldn't land on the tent. I took all my stuff, my panniers, my boots, all my riding gear, all that stuff. I put it inside the tent because the tent started shaking so much that I was concerned that it would actually start blowing away. And I go in to go to sleep, and maybe like, I don't know, 30 minutes later, the wind is so intense that my tent is now moving with me in it and my gear. And I'm absolutely terrified. And because it's just like I can't, there's nothing I could do. Like all my belongings are inside the tent and I'm in the tent, and there's nothing I could do to keep it from moving. And I'm just like I'm just like outside, just like clawing at the ground. And I'm just like I'm just like trying to think like, dude, what else can I do? Like all my stakes are gone at this point. It's dark, so I have no idea where they're at, and it's like I'm completely out of ideas, and it's just like unrelenting, and I have to go to sleep. And so after maybe it seemed like forever, but it was probably just like 10 minutes, I imagine. I just grabbed my tent and all my stuff that was in my tent, and I just dragged it all the way across the park to a toilet. One of those like those like
concrete.
yeah, the little like concrete little house toilet things, and I slept in the toilet all night. So I just put all my crap in there, and I just slept in the toilet. That was like my worst camping experience ever. And I was so embarrassed too. I like woke up extra early so I can get out of there before anybody else got up. But yeah, that was really bad. But it was. I still haven't had a chance to camp there because I think when we went through there, we ended up just catching the ferry and we kept going. So maybe someday.
And I've tried to go through there too. You gotta make sure the ferry is running, because I've gone through there before where the ferry is just not running, and if you can't take the ferry across, then it really sort of screws up that whole loop that you could do there. We did funny. I was on a trip with Utah Enduro Adventures and Miguel Mass Photographia. You know Miguel.
Yep.
And we were on a trip, and he had his bike. It got windy, and his bike fell over. I woke up kind of early, and it smelled like gas next to my tent. It's because his 690 had fallen over, and it was like leaking gas. I don't know how much or whatever. But it was like a funny thing to see, because I always move my bike like sort of away from my tent for that very reason, because what a shitty way to wake up, right? If like your bike like fell over on top of you while you were trying to sleep in your tent. But anyways, yeah, we ended up, Seth and Miguel came up with this way that Miguel called the Dirty Santana switchbacks, and it was a way to complete that loop without using the bullfrog ferry. But they were the most fucked up switchbacks, and it was like a horse trail or something, really. But nobody had been down it for the year, and then it ended up spitting us out right by Newspaper Rock, like at the end of Lockhart Basin, in Moab.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like this weirdest loop, but we keep meaning to go back there and check it out because that was a lot of fun. Like one of those like fun after the fact, and especially fun because we were coming down. I don't think like we could have ridden up those switchbacks. So, anyways,
Yeah,
stuff.
I've had to go there's a highway that goes through too as well. It goes through Height or whatever, goes up and then
Yeah.
and back down again.
If only
yeah,
Robbie were here, he would know like the names of all the
dude,
places.
he could probably read off the like latitude, longitude coordinates. Yeah, everybody should make friends with Robbie. He'll tell you all the good spots.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about the software we're using, probably because I keep moving your face around. But
Yeah.
we're using Skype to talk, and what we're experiencing right now is if the internet connection changes on Spencer's end, then Skype is like scaling his video, so it makes it bigger and smaller. But what we're actually streaming with is called OBS, and it's free. It stands for Open Broadcasting Software, and it lets you do all kinds of stuff. So you could do whatever kind of layouts you want and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Do we have any other amazing questions in here we should check out?
Robbie is apparently watching.
Yep. Robbie's here.
Trying to think. I didn't even look at mine to see what questions came in. That's terrible. It's been a busy day though.
Baxter P. Hunt on Instagram asks, "Do you like dogs?"
Oh, that's funny. He's a good follow. I gotta say, that guy. He's a little bit of a wild card, but he goes to a lot of cool places, and yeah, good follow.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Stephen, for saving us. Stephen asks, if you could ride in any country in the world, and I assume this is not U.S. because you've ridden in U.S. a bunch. I'm gonna write off Mexico too. Where and why?
Iceland. Iceland, because it looks really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I talked to a guy, I can't remember his name. He runs a tour company called Ride with Locals. He had a really fucking cool name, though. I should remember it. I don't know. Anyways, I want to go to Iceland. It's probably not going to happen this summer, but that's definitely like high up on my list. It looks just super breathtaking terrain, remote. There's very few people that live there. And most of the I think like 80% of the population lives in the capital. So once you get out of there, there's like no people. So I just think it would be a really cool moto camping experience. What about you?
Africa, actually.
Oh.
And I was going to go before the entire world stopped doing anything. And I was going to go with Moto Safari, if you've seen them on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're super new to me, but it seems like they just like came out of nowhere. I hadn't really heard of them until like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. But yeah, they definitely travel with great photographers. their trips look absolutely amazing. South Africa reminds me, when I've seen it, it kind of reminds me of like Utah. It looks like kind of that vibe going on. But I've never been. So, and the trip that I'm going to go on eventually when things start rolling again is South Africa. And yeah, they have like a 2-week loop that they do. set up all the camping and stuff. Luis has been to Africa, and she's got like a lot of intel on there. And apparently, you don't really want to just camp in a tent, because there's lots of wild animals, like dangerous
Yeah.
ones. So you tend to camp in like these established camping areas with canvas tents, and they're pretty secure and things like that. So
Wasn't
but
she in Africa when we did that first Oregon trip? I think you were like Skyping with her, I think when she was in Africa or something. Something weird like that.
Oh, that wasn't Africa, that was something else. She goes on these trips with her mom, so
Yeah.
that might have been like Russia or something.
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
thought it was funny. That was the first time I'd ever gone on a trip with you, and you were like, "You're gonna meet my wife now," because you were like Skyping with her on the phone.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, Africa seems cool. I'm excited about that when that happens. And Cape Town seems pretty
So,
cool.
did you have something booked?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It would be like 2 weeks from now. So yeah, had everything all
Terrible
booked
timing.
up, plane tickets and everything. Yeah, but it'll happen. It'll happen
Yeah.
eventually. But yeah, they're really cool. I was working with Wes there. I think he's the person that runs it, and yeah, they're really cool. They have tours all over the world, not just South Africa.
Yeah.
And I love tours, especially for areas that I've never been to. Dude, I love those. Yeah.
Part of my new job at Moscow is interacting with tour companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was like several that I knew of, especially here in the States. But holy shit, there's a lot of companies that operate tours all over the world and like all different ranges of like totally like sort of no guide, do it yourself, like there's tracks on a GPS to like fully catered, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've talked to a whole bunch of them, and everybody's like, "You got to come out and do it," and I'm like, "Yeah, I will." So hopefully, when all this craziness ends, and after my new baby is on her feet, so to speak, then I can start doing stuff like that again.
Tomorrow is that when you expect a new child?
I think we're gonna bring a new child into the world tomorrow. So that's exciting during the middle of pandemic. Okay, is that number 3?
No, this is number 2. I decided to skip the 365 brand. I'll come back to that one.
After hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to upset our sponsor. If there's sponsorship dollars anywhere, it's with LaCroix water.
They do sponsor people, but
I know
it's probably really difficult. But that's like I'm not a big fan of sponsorships because I find that they're usually the amount of work involved is more than like actually paying for the product. But for LaCroix, I think it would be worth it. I think it would be.
I think so.
I legitimately love their product, so I would just be like talking about it all the time, like I already am. So
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, I tag it. Sometimes whoever runs their Instagram account will interact with me every now and again, and yeah, somebody said piss break soon, and I'm like, yeah, that's why there's an hour limit on these because it's like I can only drink so much LaCroix without the well-hydrated podcast.
Jesse is in the house. One Lost Moto.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I met him at a coffee shop for the first time in Oregon.
Really?
It's very memorable. I remember exactly where we were sitting. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, Jesse, I'm so excited.
I remember you.
That's before he even created his motorcycle account.
Yeah, you introduced me to him at CC, and yeah, you were like, he's thinking about starting an Instagram account, and blah blah blah. We posted a picture, and it was funny.
Dude, yeah, the most
solid.
I love, dude. Yeah.
That was a fun. When we were in Colorado this summer, we had like a ADV house. It was kind of like full house of ADV bros. It was him, you, me, Eat Sleep Moto Beer, Nick, Rodeo Cowboy, and Robbie. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss anybody? No, that was we should really turn that into like a reality TV show. It would have been good.
Yeah, we could
But
probably get
anyways,
at least a couple episodes out of it.
yeah. But anyways, Jesse was the one
So
that set
quick
that up.
tangent. Remember when I stubbed my toe in that house.
Yeah. Did
So
you have like?
I still don't have my toenail. Yeah, I my toenails or my toes. I think I broke my toe, and then it just turned black and blue, and then I thought it was done, and then just like I don't know, maybe like a month ago or so, my toenail just completely fell off, and now it's starting to grow back, but it's like really super gross looking. I don't think it's ever
Why
gonna grow
haven't
back.
Why haven't I seen this post on Instagram yet? I mean,
Yeah,
that seems like some sort of content.
because I stubbed it in on the stairs.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. It was one of those, and then you were like limping around, and it's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, everybody thought I got like in a motorcycle accident. It's like, no, I just
Yeah.
stubbed my toe.
Oh man, every time I talk about that trip, it just makes my ribs hurt from that having to change that tire on my way back in a garage or in a gas station parking lot with cracked ribs. That was really shitty. All because I tried to wheelie over a mud puddle, like you do.
Yeah. Did you get video? You had video of that, right? Or no?
No, you were supposed to have video of it.
Yeah. I don't think I was recording. I don't think I was,
Oh
because
man, that
it was a
happened.
very
So,
boring segment. It was like, you
dude,
know,
we were like going through like a bunch of mining equipment and stuff. It was great.
yeah, but it was just kind of uneventful. You know how the GoPro is? It has like 5 minutes of battery life, so you just have to like start it, stop it, start it, stop it, start it, stop it. At least that's what I do.
Yeah, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was a good day. Right up until that point. Release the photo. Yeah, Jesse says you got to release the photos.
Yeah. I haven't taken any.
I don't know. What else? There was something I was going to ask you about. Oh, I was going to tell you. So you didn't come with us to Death Valley this year for some reason, and anyways, so I was riding in front of Miguel like one morning,
Hmm.
and same thing. It was the worst crash I've ever had. It tops that one by far, except I didn't get hurt. And he was behind me, had his GoPro rolling and shit, and he looked at it afterwards, and it was pointed like directly down.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
I still think the worst crash video I've seen is recently is Jesse's One Lost Moto.
Oh man, the
And
sound of
I don't
that
know. Yeah,
video.
did you add? I feel like it. I believe you that there was sound when you crashed of your ribs breaking, because I
Yeah.
heard it. But I want to ask Jesse if he just did just a little, like
Little
volume
tweak.
boost, a little EQ, because it was gross. Like
Yeah.
I could only watch it one time, and I was like, done. I can't watch this again. That was so bad.
It made my stomach turn. I Big props to you, Jesse, for being up and at 'em and like just moving around now and stuff. It seems like you made a really remarkable recovery. Yeah, he says crunch. Yeah. I think I watched that video the once and then it made my stomach turn and I had to like
Yeah.
not because we've all kind of I haven't obviously I haven't had a fall that serious, but like, you know, hitting the ground like that. There's like the phases of like you realize that you're gonna crash and then you realize that it's happening and then it's happened and yeah.
He
Yeah.
says not modified at all. Wow, that's pretty gross. So in our last
Props.
5 minutes, Spencer, what is the next trip? Do you have any trips planned? If you do, I imagine they're very far in the future. But what's your?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good thing with the coronavirus. What is the next one? Oh, I think KTM rally in September. I mean, already on my calendar this year is like just the normal September 2 week trip, and then I don't know. It really depends on when I can ride again. Overland Expo has been rescheduled to the end of July, I believe. So if everything's good by then I'll probably do some riding in Arizona. Uh, Damn, it's going to be hot. Didn't think about that. I don't know. I'll probably do some riding around the Overland Expo then. around that time. How about you?
I have nothing planned. So my next trip was the one that I'm doing in a couple weeks, and then I had nothing beyond that. So yeah, I'm just at this
You're
point.
doing the KTM rally again though, right?
Sure. Is it in Colorado again?
Yeah. No, it's in Idaho.
Oh, okay. When is that?
September.
Okay.
Sometime middle of September. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Robbie already has like an Airbnb rented and stuff. Like he's already got a house rented. So like.
Really? For the rally?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
jeez. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
Jesse's on here too. Tell Jesse, yeah, if you're still on here,
if it's
Jesse.
in Idaho, 100%, because like my bike's already there. It's still in Idaho. So
Oh
because
yeah.
I at the end of our last trip, I left my bike in Vegas, shipped it to Idaho so that it can be worked on, and it's still there because I haven't picked it up yet. And so maybe I just leave it there until September.
Yeah. Or we do a moto trip in Idaho like before then or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Then I really want to do some riding. I was going down to White Salmon like once a month to work in the office at Moscow.
Uh-huh.
And I really hope when I can start doing that again I was going to like ride down the Washington BDR to get down there or go do a loop around Mount Hood, you know, and then come back and stuff. Aaron says it's McCall, and I think he's right. McCall, Idaho. Oh, yeah, and Tom rented it. Yeah. Anyways.
McCall's awesome. I rode the scariest single track of my life there with Rory.
Really?
Yeah, Rory Sullivan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, the video is amazing, but I was so scared the entire time. And I was using the Rilo 360 cam, and so which I absolutely love that camera, and except the quality sucks, but I love their software. It makes it super stable, and you just basically put the camera somewhere, and then you can reposition your footage later, and you can see like your feet, you can see your head, you can see everything around you and stuff. And man, I freaking love. Yeah, that's amazing. It was very scary, but I had a good time. And also my bike battery died so many times there. I have no idea why. This brand new battery.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird
Stuff, man.
Anyways, this was good. Let's do another one of these.
This was fun.
Have somebody else on.
Invite do you want to do it like next week? We'll do another one.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. We'll figure out this video situation here because. Yeah.
I had chosen the bad internet. It was accident. It defers to like the bad one. You know about this technical jargon.
Yeah, so we'll fix this next time. This me constantly moving Spencer around and changing his size. But otherwise, very successful, and I'd love to do this again.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in and our sponsors, LaCroix, and yeah.
See you next time.
Cool, man. Yeah, till next time.